Hi everyone, it's me, Lindsay, again with EquipMeOT, here today to talk about returning to drive following a shoulder surgery or injury. Now this is a common question I get regarding most recovery processes, and that is, when am I safe to return to drive? And the answers to that are a little bit complicated and should be kind of assessed on a personal level, but what I want to provide here are some good details about how you should start making those decisions. So the first things first, anytime you're recovering from a surgery or injury, the first thing that you have to be aware of before you return to driving is your pain management. So most doctors aren't going to clear you to return to driving unless you are fully off of the narcotic pain medications, as these can cause an altered mental state and can really not make it particularly safe to drive. Now, that isn't the case for everybody. Some people are cleared to drive using those for a maintenance management of a chronic pain condition, but if you're somebody recovering from surgery or injury, that is going to be typically the case. Once you are cleared from those medications and your pain is well managed, the next step of the process is your physical abilities. Are you able to physically manage the necessary things to drive a car safely? And if that answer is yes, if you're able to check your blind spots effectively so your neck rotation is sufficient, if you're able to move at least one arm and the appropriate leg for driving, then you are appropriate to return to driving. But also know yourself. You may fatigue quicker. You may not be able to tolerate longer drives. You may want to avoid really jarring or bumpy drives because your pain might come up a little bit for those. So there's a lot of considerations that the individual needs to have before they return to their full driving capacity. But I want to show you two options that will help you, especially for the shoulder recovery, in returning to driving sooner and more comfortably. So those two pieces of equipment are going to be for managing the steering process one-handed, as well as helping you with managing your seat belt, two tasks that can be a little bit difficult following these types of surgeries or injuries. So let's talk about steering first. If you are in the recovery process and are still relying primarily on one arm to do the job of most of your tasks, then steering wheels are really difficult to deal with. So in some states, it is legal to add something called a spinner wheel. These have other names, but basically the idea of it is it's going to mount to the steering wheel and allow you to steer the vehicle with one hand very effectively. In the state of Michigan, where I'm from, this is fully legal and can be added as a feature to your automobile without any additional considerations. In other states, it's only legal if you have certain medical needs, i.e. you can only use one arm to drive, or you have limited strength or endurance, as is the case with some spinal cord injuries and things like that. So certainly know what your state allowances are before adding these to your car. But in my state, this is allowed, and the beauty of these is they install very easily. You simply clamp them to your steering wheel, make sure they're on very tight, because you certainly don't want them moving around on you while you're driving and adjusting your wheel. And then all it does is allow you to steer your vehicle one-handed very comfortably and without a ton of exertion. So I have it mounted on this side as if I were to be driving primarily with my left hand. If I were driving with my right hand, I would mount it to the other side of the steering wheel. Now, one big piece to this, make sure you practice. Before heading out onto major busy roads, highways, things like this, you need to get comfortable with this type of driving device. So I would recommend starting out just like you would with any driving, in parking lots, in quiet back roads, things like that, to make sure you're really comfortable with how the device works and making sure that you can tolerate the activity well. So again, make sure that this is one, legal in your state, and then two, make sure you practice before going out and using this all the time. But I do have a lot of clients who like these not only for their cars, but things like their tractors, if they rely on like dirt movers and things like that for their line of work, these things can get you back to work sooner. So that's really nice about these spinner wheels. Low cost. I'll have a link down below where you can find this particular model. There's a ton of different types, so take a look at those if you're interested. So the next thing I want to talk about is seatbelt management. Seatbelt management is notoriously difficult if you have a hard time reaching across your body. So this is specifically affecting people who are perhaps recovering with a right shoulder injury for driving position, or a left shoulder injury if they're in a passenger position. So I'm going to show you two ways that you can extend your reach so that you're not having to struggle so hard to get a seatbelt on over your body. So let's talk about our seatbelt access. So this can be a very difficult task if you're recovering from a shoulder injury or surgery. It's also difficult if you have spinal precautions or issues like that, so this tool works well for those as well. But I want to show you what this is. This is called a seatbelt puller. It's made out of silicone rubber, and it simply mounts to the seatbelt to add an extension for you to grab onto to assist with making it so you're not having to reach or torque behind your body. So all it does is install on the seatbelt, so you're going to pull your seatbelt out, and then it just kind of fastens around the seatbelt like this. And you're going to press these little buttons into place. These are very low cost. I believe this one was $8. Again, I located this one on Amazon. And what it does then is give you a place so that when the seatbelt is now back in its resting position, you don't have to reach nearly as far to grab it. Now, you can adjust it down a little bit. That was a little high, so that it was a little hard. So you can see it kind of reaches out there, whether that's going from here, far less external rotation of this shoulder, or if you're reaching across your body, you can do it like that. So that's going to give you some extension. An alternative to this is something that I've been using a lot with clients because I really like it for its rigidity. This one's a little bit floppy, so it's kind of hard to position it exactly where you need it. This is called this is a reusable foam covered twist tie. So these are also used as gear ties. Sometimes they're sold like that. I find these on Amazon. I absolutely love them. They come in a 4-pack and they're just really versatile and they hold in position really well. And what I do with these is similar to the seatbelt pull here. I'm going to take this one off. Is similarly, I'm just going to kind of clip this on and then give it a little wrap like this so that it holds in position. And once you pinch these into position, they have 150 pounds of force that they hold onto, which is pretty incredible. And you can still slide it up and down the seatbelt to get it where you need it. And this is a little tight for what I want, but for demo purposes, it will suffice. And then I kind of created a hook on the other side. So now when I'm getting in the car, I can simply grab this and it's really easy to locate. You can extend it out so it's straight. You can create a loop if you wanted it, depending on what your dexterity is. But basically, you're flexible in how you position this. And then you can simply pull the seatbelt where you need it and then adjust it once you're there. Because it's padded, it's not going to cause any interference with the seatbelt's function. You can move it out of your way, it doesn't hurt. So that's another alternative to kind of extend your reach so that you're not having to really reach behind your body or have to reach outside of that safe movement that's allowable soon following an injury or surgery on your shoulder. This is also great if you have a chronic condition that causes shoulder pain, whether that's just simply arthritis or pain. This can be really helpful for that as well. So check this little product out. I'm going to make a link down below for these two. So there you have it. A couple of ways to make driving with a shoulder injury or surgical recovery easier, as well as some important information on how to return to it safely. So if you got some great value out of this video, consider giving me a thumbs up. As always, if you need more information on how to stay safe and independent in your home and community, consider subscribing to EquipMeOT. Thank you.